So in this survey that we did, the research that we're about to publish, we asked what are the most important traits that a leader brings? And the number one trait that employees identified is vision, right? And I think it makes sense, right? So the nonprofit sector is very vision forward. We're all here doing this work, not just because we need a living, right? But because we believe in something bigger than ourselves. And so if you want to keep people motivated, you've got to really be comfortable and willing to remind them of that vision, because when the work is really hard, and it's really hard a lot in this sector, if even if you're compensated well, if you're in an educational institution or healthcare, right, where, you're probably making double what people in the social service sector are making, days can still be really difficult. And if you aren't reminded about the vision and the more important end goal that you're all working towards, and you're not collectively focused on that, people are going to get burned out really quickly. And I think it's really easy for someone to check out when they're not reminded of why we do this work every day. Yes, everyone is working because they need a paycheck. If someone was independently wealthy, would they show up to work every day? Probably not. But they've chosen your organization and your cause because their values align with it. And so if you are not reinforcing that connection to values and vision, sure, they'll still show up because they need a paycheck, but they're not going to give the same level of effort and the same amount of work and engagement as they would if they really are true believers and kind of on fire for the cause, right? And so when I look at an organization where people are well aligned, they all get the vision, the leader is reminding people daily, weekly, monthly of what's important and what their kind of North Star is that they're working towards, that organization is so much more successful than the organization that says, well, I don't have to do this. We pay people well. Let's just let them do their work. You might get similar amounts of work out of people, but you're not going to get the same quality.